The ultimate betrayal is witnessing a former brother seize control of your family while you are on the outside looking in. Mendeecees Harris did not receive a private phone call. For him, there was no courteous sit down. He learned that Yandy Smith was officially dating Michael, a man who used to sit at his own table when everyone else did. While Yandy and Michael flaunted their courtship throughout Aspen, Paris, and Europe, Mendeecees did not just fall apart. He started working. It's hardly a little feud between former partners. Right now, there is a nuclear conflict. Mendeecees deliberately sought opportunities to officially designate Yandy as an unfit mother, since he would not permit his former friend to assume the role of father, and they engaged strong legal counsel to gain full custody. But Yandy is reacting with lethal ferocity. Mendeecees supposedly responds to severe claims of total abandonment by disappearing for months at a time. She is preparing to legally change their children's last name from Harris to Smith in order to totally obliterate his legacy. A former brotherhood was dissolved, a high-stakes custody battle was ignited, and a father's entire legacy was at risk. This is the cold, unadorned truth of the struggle that is ruining this family. The harm caused by the betrayal of your devotion by those closest to you is far worse than any public disagreement. To truly appreciate the incredible severity of the war currently engulfing Mendeecees Harris and Yandy Smith, you must first comprehend the unique foundation that existed between Mendeecees and Michael. Michael was never an unnamed bystander or a distant buddy who just so happened to enter Yandy's life after the marriage failed. He was a man who shared history, conversations, and the unspoken fraternity rule with Mendeecees. In this context, certain lines are absolute and some borders cannot be altered. Sharing bread with a sibling creates a holy bond of respect. It goes beyond simply moving into that brother's former house and assuming his role. It is perceived as a heartbreaking, intentional betrayal. Mendeecees could tolerate a normal breakup, but when he learned that the man holding his ex-partner's hand had formerly been a trustworthy ally, a personal breakup morphed into a cruel, intentional assault on his dignity. This sting turned into a whole inferno because of the blatant jet-setting technique by which this union exploded over the world, not only the union itself. Michael and Yandy made no effort to conceal or downplay their growing relationship. Instead, they started a high-profile, international display of luxury that captivated onlookers everywhere. From the pristine, snow-covered slopes of Aspen to the opulent boulevards of Paris and upscale resorts around Europe, their devotion turned into an alluring show. Seeing a former partner rebuild her life is challenging enough, but witnessing her fly across countries and live luxuriously next to someone who was once in your inner circle turns your private dissatisfaction into public humiliation. A constant reminder that Mendeecees had been completely supplanted was provided by every documented tour across European towns and every high-resolution photo taken in Aspen. Because it was a spectacular stage of romance, attendees had little opportunity to consider the change in seclusion. But the most upsetting aspect of this entire disclosure was not the lavish trip or the public display. Mendeecees was kept in the dark in a deliberate, cold manner. In any adult separation, especially one involving a common family, basic respect demands a private conversation before introducing a new figure. This type of gesture was not given to Mendeecees. There was no previous warning, no private phone call, and no effort to mitigate the shock. When Mendeecees found out about Yandy and Michael's connection at the same time as everyone else, she was totally caught off guard. When you found out that your ex-partner was meeting your old friend in public rather than having a direct conversation with them, any semblance of mutual respect was broken. One thing became quite clear. The rank, honor, and opinions of Mendeecees were no longer taken into consideration. Mendeecees immediately experienced a significant psychological change as a result of this realization. The initial astonishment was soon followed by an unforgiving defensive wrath. For Mendeecees, this was no longer a case of romantic lingering or wounded ego. It soon escalated into a disagreement over respect, limits, and his authority as a father. It became obvious that Michael, a guy who broke the unspoken rules of brotherhood, should not be near his children. Mendeecees refused to stand by passively, while a former friend assumed parental responsibilities over his kids. The emotional fallout reached a breaking point, laying the explosive groundwork for a vicious dispute that would eventually escalate from personal grievances into the legal system. When images of Yandy and Michael's jet-setting romance surfaced online, The emotional strain on Mendeecees reached a breaking point. What can only be described as a full-blown nuclear retaliation swiftly replaced quiet amazement. For Mendeecees, there was no chance of amicable dialogue or reconciliation because the borders had been crossed much too far. Even though the public depicted this as the usual animosity of an ex-partner watching his former sweetheart continue, the truth behind closed doors was much more volatile. Mendeecees wasn't competing for Yandy's affection. He was attempting to defend his identity as a man and, more significantly, as a father. The final catalyst for this outburst was the inevitable reality of Michael becoming a part of his children's daily environment. Mendeecees had to use permanent ink to draw a line. It was one thing to pursue a romantic relationship with a man who had broken the unwritten code of brothers. It was very another for that same dad to take on a position of authority or influence over his children. To think that his children would live, travel, or spend time with someone he saw as a traitor was an intolerable insult. Mendeecees' position was obvious to everyone in his social circle. Michael would never be permitted to act like a parent or be near his children without a furious quarrel. When his emotions went out of control, Mendeecees did more than merely express his anger in private or through enigmatic online posts. He launched an aggressive legal effort. After recognizing that public protests are useless in family court, Mendeecees formally recruited legal counsel to begin a search for complete physical and legal custody of his children. The desire to modify the visitation schedule was not a minor one. This was a direct attempt to take his children away from Yandy's primary care. This dispute escalated from a heated debate into a full-fledged legal battle. According to sources, when Mendeecees and his legal team began actively investigating ways to officially identify Yandy as an unfit mother. Pursuing an unfit mother designation is the ultimate high-risk nuclear strategy in family law. It requires demonstrating that severe instability or environmental damage directly endangers a child's overall well-being. By considering this extreme legal option, Mendeecees showed that he was willing to forego all courtesies. He aimed to present Yandy's decisions as evidence of compromised parental discretion, especially the addition of a controversial individual and the focus on a public romance. This strong move rattled their wide inner circles. For years, Yandy and Mendeecees had been presenting a cohesive blended family image while battling major personal challenges and public criticism. However, by coming to court with the goal of discrediting her status as a parent, Mendeecees had demolished any residual civil foundation between them. The court documents were meant to establish a legal barrier that would prohibit Michael from having any structural presence with the children in addition to granting him sole custody. This legal dispute has very high stakes. Such custody disputes transform the courtroom into a brutal battlefield where each choice is examined under oath. Mendeecees' strong defense of his parental rights before Michael became a permanent fixture in his kids' lives served as the cornerstone of his legal strategy. Mendeecees filed a lawsuit in an effort to take back control of a situation that had been widely reported without his consent. He wanted to make it very clear to Yandy, Michael, and the court system that he was unable to compromise on his fatherly duties. And he was prepared to use every legal resource at his disposal to protect his parental authority. If Mendeecees believed that launching a legal onslaught would force Yandy Smith to cooperate in silence, he was greatly overestimating his former partner. Yandy refused to allow the public to portray her as an unfit mother or damage her reputation. In response, Yandy launched a crushing legal and public counterattack, focusing on Mendeecees' own fathering record. Refusing to accept the idea that Mendeecees' new relationship had an impact on her parenting, Yandy's team made false allegations against Mendeecees' real presence, or lack thereof, in his kids' daily lives. People close to Yandy think that Mendeecees' sudden request for full custody is motivated more by a wounded ego and a conscious effort to regain control than by true parental concern. Mendeecees has been a long absentee parent, according to Yandy's side. They assert that he regularly disappears for weeks or even months at a time without offering the children regular contact, financial support, or direct involvement in their lives. Yandy argues that a parent who goes missing for months at a time has no moral or legal right to suddenly show up in court and request primary custody. She views this sudden legal battle as a plainly bitter reaction caused only by her decision to move on with Michael, rather than a genuine concern for the children's everyday well-being. However, Revealing allegations of parental absence was only the beginning of Yandy's well-thought-out retaliation. The most painful blow in this escalating disagreement was the revelation that Yandy is supposedly considering a relocation that would forever alter the family dynamic, formally changing the children's last name from Harris to Smith. In terms of personal inheritance in family law, a father's last name is crucial. It represents identity, ancestry, and a strong biological connection. Removing the name Harris and replacing it with Smith is an act of total symbolic and legal erasure. For Mendeecees, who has derived much of his identity and pride from his ancestry, this potential move would be the height of contempt. Legally altering the children's last name makes a strong signal to the world. Mendeecees is formally withdrawing from his role as the leader of that household and systematically removing his legacy from his children's lives. It is a deliberate action meant to show that Yandy considered herself to be the only pillar of the family, disconnecting Mendeecees from the fundamental identity of his own children. Due to this dual-pronged retaliation, which exposed claims of absence while aiming to erase the family name, the disagreement has escalated into a full-scale scorched earth battle. Yandy and Mendeecees' years-long united front for the world has completely crumbled, to be replaced by bitter legal strategies and long-lasting animosity. What started out as a very personal betrayal involving a former friend in Michael has developed into a complex legal battle for custody, character, and legacy. This battle has far-reaching effects that go beyond tabloid headlines. Mendeecees is now embroiled in a high-stakes conflict on two fronts. He has to defend his own parental record against charges that might permanently damage his legal standing, while simultaneously fighting to legally bar his ex-brother from assuming a parental role. As accusations of desertion and unfitness fly in opposing ways, the acidic aftermath threatens to forever alter everyone's life. The official collapse of the legacy they spent years building together has left behind a path of broken trust, high-stakes litigation, and an uncertain future for the children caught square in the heart of the storm. Before we wrap up today's dissection, it's crucial to remember that everything discussed in this video is just for fun and criticism. Ultimately, we are analyzing public headlines from the outside looking in, and none of us truly comprehend the specific private conversations or interpersonal dynamics taking place behind closed doors. Even though they have well-known lives, celebrities are just regular individuals with complex family structures, emotions, and challenging co-parenting challenges. This content is created solely to analyze pop culture topics and well-known stories. It is not meant to pass judgment on people's private lives or real-world actions. I now want to hand the microphone to you, the audience. This situation raises important questions of co-parenting, personal limits, and loyalty following a public split. What are your thoughts on this fallout? Do you think Mendeecees has a right to be upset about his old friend interfering in his children's lives? Or is he letting his ego dictate his legal strategy? On the other hand, do you think Yandy's counter-allegations are true? Or is it excessive to consider changing the name? Please share your honest thoughts in the space provided for comments below, so that we can begin a sincere conversation. If you like this in-depth analysis, kindly click the like button. It helps a lot with channeling out and only takes a moment. To ensure you never miss another analysis of the biggest pop culture stories, don't forget to click subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Give this video to a friend who follows the latest thoughts of celebrities. Thank you for watching. Stay careful and I'll see you all in the next video.